Welcome back, Blitzers. This is the Muffin here. I have a subscriber request to make a vid on the best Tier X light tank. Now, with there only being 3, it's a pretty short list. Short vid makes it actually pretty easy. But the only 3 Tier X light tanks in the game is the Sheridan, the Bat Chat, and the Vickers light. So I'll go through my opinions, my thoughts on each one of them, go through a thorough explanation of why I think which one of these is the best, and then just take it from there. And then I'll announce kind of the winner or the best tank at the very end. So looking at all 3 of these tanks, if I look at the armor inspector, which a light tank, you're not really expecting to have really any armor. That's not where a light tank shines. It's more around maneuverability or view range, things of that sort, to really help you get to effective positions quickly, to spot enemies, to help give you data to understand how you can maneuver and make your way around the map, and your team as well, so they can understand where the enemy is and they can position themselves strategically according to where the enemy is. So those are what's very important to a tank that needs to be spotting, are those things. Maneuverability, view range is also really important, and then obviously just having a good cannon. So going back to looking at the Sheridan's armor, it doesn't have any. Which is expected. I mean, even at using the 10 degrees that you can see here, you're not really bouncing a whole lot. You are most likely going to get penned. However, the benefit of the Sheridan, it has a lot of spaced armor, and a lot of the mistakes that enemies will make when firing at you is they'll switch to their HE round thinking they'll pen and do a lot more damage. But that's where the Sheridan fools you, and it actually won't do as much. So that is one thing that is really cool about the Sheridan and can really help you out. The Bat Chat, looking at it under the armor inspector, has nothing. Compared to the Sheridan that has spaced armor, the Bat Chat just nothing. So the Sheridan comparatively is better armor-wise than the Bat Chat. You do have some pretty sloped armor, but that spaced armor I do actually like a lot better in protecting against those HE rounds. Now, the last Vickers light, if you look at it, when using your 10 degrees of gun depression, you actually have some armor that can protect you. You've got a decent gun manlet, and your upper hull slanted enough can cause either that auto ricochet or can give you some or a little bit of protection. So not to mention, combined with the 10 degrees of gun depression, I mean, you can really put this thing in effective position. So armor-wise, it's kind of up between the Sheridan or the Vickers, but I would definitely say the Vickers because just because you actually do have some of that armor, and that 10 degrees of gun depression with that turret, that gun mantlet, is actually quite nice, especially for a light that's not really meant to shine in terms of armor. Next, going into the stats, the Vickers takes the cake. You look at this thing, it has best DPM, best penetration. It has 10 degrees of gun depression like the Sheridan, but I mean, just looking at these stats, it also has like the best pen by a little bit more. So the Vickers wins in terms of the cannon, in my opinion, even though I think the Sheridan is a lot of fun with its high alpha damage gun, and the Bat Chat with its auto loader. This thing has just the highest DPM, which is really nice. And so just along with these other stats. Then going into maneuverability, the Sheridan and the Bat Chat are a little faster than the Vickers. And like I had said at the beginning, that is actually one of the key things that I look for in a light or medium, is that maneuverability. Because if you're if you're supposed to be spotting, getting in effective positions to do such, and you're just too slow, it's going to make your job a bit too difficult, or a bit difficult to do. So it is a little faster, as you can see here. So the Sheridan, the Bat Chat are better in those regards. And then looking at view range and the rest here, the Vickers takes the cake in terms of view range. As a matter of fact, it has the best view range of any light and medium tank of tier 10, which is very impressive. And view range is very important as a light tank. You do have 100 less hit points, which, I mean, if you're a good player, like, yeah, the hit points do help, but I honestly would prefer to have the higher view range. And then it does have a better credit coefficient, which is nice. I mean, that's not really going to affect your gameplay in determining like which tank is better than the others. But if I had to choose after looking at all the stats of these tanks, and just from my experience in a 6-year player of Blitz, it would have to be the Vickers Light. The Vickers Light is, in my opinion, the best tier 10 light tank. So, and if you were to give the other tanks rewards, I'd say the Sheridan is probably the most fun, just because it's fun to kind of whip around, put that derpy round into enemies, and then kind of make your way around. And then the Bat Chat with that auto loader, when really positioning yourself correctly, you can clip the enemy, do quite a bit of damage, and then roam around while reloading. So not saying that the other lights are not capable, but in terms of comparing and choosing a winner, I would say the Vickers Light. So anyway, hope this was entertaining. This is the Muffin here. Stay cool and keep tanking.